What's up, Autonomics? Happy Tuesday to you, and I hope you're doing well. Hello to everyone out there. If you're new here, as always, the reminder, make sure you check out our starting video for the 30-day autonomy, almost said podcast, 30-day autonomy habit adoption challenge. I was listening to a podcast earlier, and that's why I messed up. And I messed up twice now. There we go. That's the one you want to see. Wow. All right. We're up to a great start in any case. Yes, welcome back. If you're new here, make sure you check out the start video, and this will all make sense if we do that. So otherwise you might hear some terminology, some things that you're not really sure about, or that you haven't never heard of, or that just don't make any sense in context. That video and all the subsequent videos will answer that question. So make sure you check that out. Start on the challenge from day one, and then come along on the journey with us. And by all means, catch up, get the tracker from the download link in the description, or make your own. Anyway, check that video out. It'll say everything that I'm saying now, essentially. So hope your week is going well, as always. And I want to give a special shout out to my friend Anna Heights, who is on the home stretch of hiking the entire Appalachian Trail, which is 2,100 miles long, give or take. So she spent the entire summer doing that, and that's pretty impressive. And we'll talk about establishing a habit. If you want to establish a hiking habit, just go hike that trail and do nothing else. But she's very close to the end, and I wanted to give a special shout out to her here. She's a dear friend, and that's a really cool accomplishment. So well done, Anna. And look forward to catching up with you soon. That said, let's jump into the data for today, even though we're jumping in twice because you just saw it. So here it is. Cool thing happened today. First, double one on friction. 1 and 1. Now that is a very good sign of a strong habit. And this is also in the testing phase. These ones are happening going into the habit, and I'm not using any technique to start the habit or to positively color it. It's starting to just feel good to go. And I'm also seeing the beneficial the good, the beneficial effect, the good observation, the happy observation that my workouts are just getting better quality. And some of this is going to do with the fact that I've been working out steadily for over 3 weeks now, right? So you're going to start to feel some benefit out of it, and that's going to help. But, and that will likely lower, habit friction as well. So these things all work synergistically, and there's so many variables. They tend to move sort of in a big group together, as long as you're doing this thing that you're supposed to be doing or that you want to be doing. So, your diet's probably going to change as both a cause and an effect of this, right? Because as one example, because you'll want to eat better, so you work out better. You work out better because you're eating better, and everything just starts to sustain itself, right? When you boil down to the catalyst, then it really kind of comes down to one, knowing this process and the science of habit adoption, which we talked about way back before day one, and then along the way, especially on the Sundays when we introduce new concepts. But the other catalyst is just starting it. And so it's starting the habit execution, right? The hardest part of, going to do a workout when you really don't want to is just starting it, if you really think about it. So the really powerful step is finding that thing that helps you start the mental process, switching the traffic signals to green in your head, and having that execution take place, and then just doing that, over and over and over again, but knowing the techniques to successfully do that, and then to make that experience something that is just repeated to your subconscious as a positive experience. And those are the bracketing tasks. That's why this is so powerful. It really boils down to those two things: getting a good start and feeling the good finish of each execution, right? And that hopefully will lead to a similar result for you, whatever your habit is that you're trying to adopt. So where you get a double one, okay, that's high. That's going to indicate high automaticity. It just is. If it's easy to think about doing this, then if it's easy to think about doing it, if it's easy to start into doing it, if any sort of encounter mentally with the habit itself is becoming easier and easier, then it's working. And that's a great thing, right? So that could be piano practice too. I'm actually thinking, I mentioned it so many times, I'm thinking about starting a piano practice habit. So we can do it for healthy behaviors leading into good sleep, right? Getting sunlight in the morning, avoiding light 2 hours before bed, no meditation 4 hours before bed, all sorts of different things, right? All the things that are meant to, or that we mean to adopt that we don't typically do. It's just a matter of getting into the start, getting a good finish, and then having the executions result as a start or as having the good executions result from those things. Sorry, figure out my English today. Maybe I should do a Toastmasters habit and figure out how to speak. In any case, so I hope this is going well. That's how it's gone for me. I'm happy to see this. It was, the first time actually, I think ever, and I've done a tracker like this before. It wasn't as deliberate. It wasn't as granular, where I had habit friction for each day and then for multiple habits going across. That's new for me, but I've done this before and I've never encountered a double one ever. So this is really great. Some of this is going to feed into what I'll probably do as like a level 2 habit builder, which is where we stack multiple habits. And I mean, by all means, try this yourself before I decide to do a video series about it, where we stack multiple habits. And then we get into the habit of getting habits done, of getting things done, if you will. So that, where we judge a habit execution as successful if we completed 4 out of the 6 things that we targeted for separate habits during the day. There's all sorts of ways we can configure this. And some of those are linchpin habits, and some of those make the other habits easier. We can set this up in ways that are really powerful for ourselves. And here towards the end, right, as we're getting close to day 30, is some of the last bit of learning, which is using these tools is an introduction to how we can configure tools and approaches to change our brains over time. And this gets into neuroplasticity, which is demonstrable here. And I'll show it quickly. I don't want to turn this into its own topic. But, when I think it was, I don't know, maybe a month since I deliberately did this tracker, right? And where I deliberately, went through and tracked executions and deliberately did the bracketing tasks and everything else. It had been about a month. So I'll call that a sort of a semi-blank slate, right? Like I knew how to use the tool. I was familiar with it, but I hadn't used it in a while. So that's a, almost baseline place to start from, I think, in terms of your brain changing over time. Neuroplasticity is any type of neural adjustment in terms of behaviors that we want to adopt or learning, or just anytime there's a reconfiguration of neurons in our brain as a result of repeated experiences or learned experiences, that's neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity takes time. It's the establishment of new neurons and then the strengthening of that connection by repetitious use of those neural connections over time. That's neuroplasticity. And it's very easy to say, I think, and I think is a valid conclusion, that this volatility and then the smoothing out of that volatility and then the lowering of the baseline of the friction of these habits is a perfect illustration of neuroplasticity over time, right? Because every now and then you get these spikes, right? Okay, I was tired that day, or on this one, it was low, but I had an external factor that prevented the workout, but the friction was still low despite the execution. And then the friction stayed low the next day. So that indicates neural change over time. It indicates that the myriad neurons that are involved with executing a workout habit have strengthened towards the benefit of that habit, have strengthened to strengthen the habit itself, to the workout itself. This is clearly, in my opinion anyway, a cool illustration of neuroplasticity taking place for a workout habit. So there are neurons in my brain that in the different areas that we discussed in the starting video that have now adjusted and are now reinforcing that are involved in the workout habit, right? So, and this 1-1 is the strongest indicator of that yet. It's to say it's an indicator of the strongest connection yet. So if this, and it's becoming fun, like the workouts are just, oh, wow, I have like so much more energy in the workout, and it's just a blast being in there. Like I'm doing more things between weightlifting exercises, like keeping my heart rate high and trying to keep my metabolism up, right? Between sets under the weights, or supersetting, right? Doing 2 weight exercises at the same time and then putting the break in between those 2 things. Or after execution of both of those things between sets. So all of this is starting to self-reinforce, and now the engine's running. Now the habit is running in a sustained way, because I'm in the testing phase, just like we talked about, where we deliberately shut off all of the techniques that help push us into the execution and then positive coloring of a habit. Now it's just running, and it seems to be running better and better. I don't know, we're on day 2, but I'm happy to see a 1-1 for habit friction, both for the nutrition prep, which is the linchpin habit, and the morning workout itself. This is great stuff. So I hope you're seeing some similar results. If not, then it's not a bad thing, because you're tracking it. So you can look back and try to determine some factors that might be contributing to this, right? Life has a million different ways to disrupt a good habit, which is probably why we didn't have it adopted in the first place, right? So there's changes that are naturally involved, changes in our life structure sometimes, in terms of having enough time, for example, to do something like this, that they're necessary, right? So you've got to make room for this habit to exist, and then you have to adopt it. So it's a pretty tough process, and just engaging this process is a fantastic thing. As I always say, it's not a matter of, having successfully done this, 26 out of 27 times or anything like that. It's a matter of just putting it on paper somewhere, tracking it, and trying to improve it. If you've done that, then you've done a lot for yourself, and you can repeat this process to strengthen the habit again the next 30 days, or however you want to do it, right? All of this is repeatable, and it's repetition that strengthens those connections. So just keep all those things in mind. I'll call that a video for today. Thank you for being here. Thanks to all my subscribers. Again, can't do this without you. I love that you're out there. I hope you're benefiting from this. Give me a comment if there's any questions. Like the video if you liked it. If you're not a subscriber, consider subscribing so you never miss one of these. And boy, I really need to get some long form videos out. I took a class in making better YouTube videos, and I ended up with an idea sheet that was like 200 lines long, which means I'm trying to implement 200 new ideas to increase the quality of my videos in the video I'm working on, which is not the way to maybe do this. Maybe try to find a 1% improvement each video rather than a 200% improvement if each one was worth 1%. But so I'll have something out soon, I promise. But thank you for watching these daily videos. I do see the views come in, and I'm really glad you're out there benefiting from this. So keep having a great week. I will see you tomorrow, and here's hoping for your first 1-1. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.